All right, 6 to 9 friends, we made it to day 2. So this will be your only other lesson for the week. And then the rest of your time for art this week, you'll utilize to complete the assignment that we'll talk about at the end of this lesson. So what do we have to get started on today? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to pause this video and you're going to go back into your Schoology folder and you will see something that says watch this. And it's an author reading of this book called Teach Us Your Name. I want you to watch the video of this because this is going to inspire our piece. So pause, click on the second video link and watch the video of this book and then come back and join me here in just a moment. All right, I hope you enjoyed this story. One of the reasons I wanted to share that story with you is because it's so important for to me to know all of your names. And I will work my very best to do that. I will obviously remember most of you from last year, but even after a really long break, we've had almost 6 months since we've seen each other. It might take me a little bit of time to remember everybody's names and those of you who have switched classrooms around. But it's also important to me that I pronounce your name correctly. For you to teach me your name through your artwork for your first assignment. This first assignment should be something that is a little bit more fun to do, and it'll have us practicing a few things from last year as a little bit of a review. What you're going to do is you're going to write your name nice and big on your paper, and we're going to use Zentangles to fill in our paper. Now, your name is a big part of your identity. Identity is who you are. Most of us have probably heard the word identity when we think about a superhero having a secret identity. So that's a whole other person and character and who that alter ego is. Well, you have a whole identity to who you are. Some of that's influenced by where you've grown up and the family that you're a part of and the things that you learn and you're exposed to, and definitely the things that you like and you enjoy to do, all of the things that you're good at and you're proud of. So there's so many different things that come to make up who you are as a person. And all of those things are a way that we can find inspiration in our art. And we're going to pull from so much of our own identities into our artwork this year. And you'll find as we look at artwork that it will teach us about the identity of the artist who created that artwork. So that's something we'll be paying a lot of attention to this year in art class. To get started, we are going to practice writing our name. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work in our sketchbooks with our pencils so that we can practice creating some of our letters, because we're going to create a block or a bubble style letter, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. And we're going to practice it first, but if we make a mistake, we didn't make that mistake on our project paper. And as soon as you're confident, then you'll move to your project paper, and then you'll need to write your name nice and big across the paper. So let's get started with our sketchbook and our pencils. All right, you should have your sketchbook in front of you, but so you can see better, instead of working on the smaller pages, I'm just going to work on a nice big sheet of paper. You should also have a pencil of some kind with you, but again, for showing you with the demonstration, I am going to work with some markers so that you can see clearly what I'm doing. All right, so we are going to practice creating bubble or block lettering. And to do that, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write your name in capital letters. Capitals are easier than lowercase to do. So we'll just start there. Plus, we want nice big letters that are really going to fill our paper. With your sketchbook, I want you to pick 1 or 2 letters of your name to do side by side on your paper, and then you can flip on the other side, and you can practice again with some of the other letters in your name. So I'm going to start here by showing you we'll start with these two. T-E, the first two of my name. So you will have done that in pencil and then also with your pencil, but I'm going to do it in my black to show you. All we're going to do is we're going to kind of trace the space around our letters. And when we do that, we want to try to say the same distance around that middle letter. And you want to leave yourself room to make it a wider letter. So I'm going to start here. And we're just going to kind of turn it into a shape here. So this is me creating a block letter, and I'm just doing some space around the T that I drew. Okay, and since you're working in pencil, if you make a line that you don't like, you can simply erase and try again. So that's what you would do for a block letter. I'll go ahead and do the E to show you as well. So the block one is going to be a little bit boxier. So I'm working with straight lines. We practiced some straight lines on our line page. And so it's just straight lines creating shapes the same distance as much as I can on both sides of my name here. So I'm obviously not going to demonstrate every letter of the alphabet. We'd be here for a long time. So these are just a few examples, and you're going to find some reference videos to show you reminders about this in the Schoology folder. So I did the first two of mine. I'm going to show you, let's look at more of a bubble letter style. So a bubble letter is going to be, more round. So I'll pick some other letters. How about an A? Right, and I'll show you an E. Maybe we can see the difference between the letters and the two styles. So again, just writing the letters in all capitals. You can see you're going to want to, when you write it on your paper, you're going to want to space it. Maybe your letters won't be so tall if you have a longer name, or maybe you'll want to write part of your name up here and the other part in the bottom to help fill your paper. So you'll decide how to fill your paper as you work. So with a bubble letter, last time I traced the outside, right? Nice and kind of straight square lines. So now with a bubble letter, a bubble is rounded. So we want rounder lines. So what you're going to do is you're going to take an oval and you're going to use an oval to go around all of your letters. So again, I'm going to show you in my pencil. So everything I'm showing you in my pink Sharpie here would be pencil lines that I'm going to end up erasing. Okay, and then what I'm showing you in the black would be the pencil lines that you would keep. So this is going to be more pencil lines that I'm going to erase, but I'm going to go around each one of my lines with an oval. Okay, so there's those two and that one. Now let's do the same thing with my E here. Right, and the bigger that I make my ovals, the wider that my bubble letter is going to be. So now what you would do is just trace the outer pencil lines. So remember, with the black is going to be the pencil lines that you're going to want to keep. So I'm going to trace so there's my A and E and more of a bubble letter style. So you can pick either style that you want to, and you're going to write your name to fill your paper nice and big. And then we'll move on to the next step. For now, I want you to just practice in your notebook. Make sure you have a couple letters that you like, and I'll show you what we'll do with them next. All right, now that we have some idea of what a Zentangle is, it's time to create some of our own. I'm gonna do a few on here that you can practice with me. You can practice them on your paper if you feel ready and confident to go. Just make sure you're using a pencil so you can erase if you make a mistake, because you're probably gonna make a mistake when you're trying something new. You can also utilize some space in your sketchbook to practice. So some of those practice letters you made in your sketchbook, I would practice my Zentangle patterns on there first. So we have our Zentangles. We also have our line sheet from yesterday. So one of the reasons we practice some lines is because most Zentangles are just patterns made up of lines. We're going to fill in our spaces with lines. You have two different options for decorating your name. Okay, well, we're going to talk about the element of art space this year. And we're going to we've talked about it before when we talk about like where things are within our paper, especially when we talk about like a landscaping. But we also talk about positive space and negative space. So positive space is the space in your artwork where your name is, okay, where your art is, sorry, or the space that's empty is your negative space. So positive is where the art is on the paper, and negative is where the art is not. So you're going to choose what's going to be your positive space or your negative space. Are you going to put your Zentangle patterns on your letters and fill your letters with your patterns? Or are you going to put your Zentangle patterns behind your name and leave your name blank? Maybe you can color it in a color. So positive and negative. So you're going to decide Zentangles in the back or Zentangles on the letter. I'm going to practice my Zentangles inside my letters right now, but I'll show you a finished product that has the Zentangles in the background so that you have an idea. So let's get started with some Zentangle patterns. So again, we're just utilizing lines to create some cool patterns, and you can create any kind that you want. I have a few reference YouTube videos that are listed in your folder that take you through YouTube videos where they show you step-by-step how to do different patterns. So I'll show you a few here, and if you still don't feel confident maybe coming up with your own, go ahead and take a look at some of the other videos that I have. So they can be really easy. Let's start just with some spiral lines. I think spirals are a lot of fun. So as I'm creating some spirals, I'm just going to fill in the space by creating a spiral pattern. Okay, and I just keep going. You can see I'm kind of going until my spiral hits a wall, and then I'm just adding another one. This one I'm going to make run in a little bit more. So I'm going to keep working on this one until I fill my whole space with spirals. So that's just utilizing one line style to create a Zentangle pattern. I can also let's use some zigzags, right? Simple line to create a pattern. I can make my pattern more complex by choosing to maybe color in some of my lines as I'm creating my pattern. Okay, so my Zentangle is going to continue until I fill the whole space. And then I would continue to color on this one. I'm making my pattern every other one is colored in. But I'm going to keep moving on. You can pause this video as we go so you can fill your whole letter. or your whole space with one of my patterns. We can make a polka dotted pattern, or we can start to get to some more complex patterns where we're adding multiple different line styles. So on this one, I'm going to start with some diagonal lines. And again, because I don't want this video to take too long, I'm going to stop here, but you would continue to fill your entire space. Now I'm going to create some V's, or create like a zigzag line to go over the top. So I'm building multiple line styles now in order to create patterns. So this one would be one that's a little harder, a little bit more complex. It might take a few times to practice. Okay, you're going to work in your pencil so that if you make a mistake, you could just do a quick erase and start over again. Okay, that looks kind of cool. It's got that kind of spider web pattern. And then I could take it even further by choosing to color some like every other one in. So I think I talked about how Zentangles, Zen is a form of meditation, and Zentangles are kind of like doodling or coloring as a form of relaxation or meditation. So this should be a work that I hope you find relaxing and fun and not stressful. But I do have office hours available. So if you are really struggling and having a hard time and you tried some reference videos and you did some practice, I don't want frustration. Remember, we don't want to get frustrated to the point of tears. Art should be something that we enjoy and we find relaxing, even if it's not our best work. I just want to see the effort, the attempt. But I'm here to help you. So you can join one of my Google Meet office hours so that you're able to get some help. Now, Zentangles fill up spaces, right? And then when you get to a stopping point, they end. I could create this to be 2 different Zentangles within my name. Part of your assignment is going to be to come up with at least 5 different Zentangles. Well, what if you have a name that only has 3 letters? Maybe you're going to break some of your letter shapes into some different sections to be able to create at least 5 different Zentangle patterns. Or you can choose to leave your name white or one color and do your patterns in the background, and I'll show you how to break up that space. Or you can just create the 2 different spaces. So I have a nice line where I stopped here. So now I'm going to do a different one up top. And when I place mine together, I like to do one that's totally different. So this one used a lot of straight and diagonal lines. So I think for this one, I'm going to use some curly lines as a nice contrast because they're so different, the curly versus the straight lines. And I'll just fill that space. I think this should give you a good idea about using lines to create patterns to fill in your space. Let's talk about if you wanted to create that your name is the negative space, so your name is where there's no art, and you want to make your Zentangles in the background. So the way to do that, let's pretend I haven't colored any of my name in. The way to do that is you can take your pencil and you can break your paper, make a bunch of lines that all kind of cross over each other in the same space. Okay, so I would erase the spots where those lines crossed over my name, because my name is going to be the spot where it stays blank. And then I now have these spaces left behind my letters. And that's where I will make, that's where I'm going to fill that space with a Zentangle pattern. I'll show you one of my favorite Zentangles. So it does crisscross lines. So diagonal one way and then diagonal another way. So I'm creating some diamond shapes by crisscrossing my straight lines. Okay. The next step is to create and color in a little square in each corner. So I have to make kind of small ones where maybe it goes off my page. I don't even think any part of that one would even be visible. So I'm filling in squares in the corner here. I don't know why I like this one so much, but I definitely do. It's one of my favorites. I'll make a tiny little bit of there. Okay, the last step is to draw a line connecting my corner of my colored in box to the corner across the way. Even the ones that are behind my S, I'll just have my line that goes there. There you go. They kind of look like a little optical illusion, like maybe you're looking inside a box there. I need a little one here and lines there too. So if you do the positive space as being the background or behind your name, you have a choice whether you want to continue this pattern in this space too. So you can make this entire like pie piece or triangle here, all one pattern, or I can choose to do many different ones. So I might end up with a ton more patterns here by breaking down each space. I could also decide that, you know what, this is a big piece of space here. I want to make it smaller. So I could just break that down by drawing a line and breaking up the space the same way that I broke my E. Okay, so if I were to create Zentangles behind and Zentangles on my name, that would be awfully hard for you to tell everything apart. So I want you to resist the urge and choose positive space or negative space and decide which is your name and which is your background, but only art on one set. So let me show you my finished name. This is when I chose to make the positive space behind my name. So I filled the space behind my name with a bunch of different Zentangle patterns. And then for fun to make my name pop, I could have left it white, but I just decided to color it in green. Green is one of my favorite colors, and I wanted to add a little bit of color. Zentangles are typically just done in black and white. So if you have a marker at home, or you can use your black crayon, and you can trace over your Zentangle patterns or just press a little harder with your pencil. I want to make sure that when you turn in your artwork and you take a picture that I can see it really clearly. So that's the basics of our first assignment and using Zentangles to do this. So let's talk about and make sure you know all of the layers of your cheeseburger that I'm going to order from you for your first week's project.
Okay, so we went over everything, but let's review to make sure that when you complete your work, you know you have done everything that you're responsible for. Most all of you will remember last year we always talked about a cheeseburger when we were talking about grades. The whole idea being every time I'm giving you an assignment, it's like I'm ordering something from you, right? I'm asking for you to give me something in particular. So it's like I'm ordering a cheeseburger from you. And when I order that cheeseburger, I'm ordering it with different toppings on top. And when you create your art assignment and you give me every topping, that's every kind of detail or each component that is needed to complete your art assignment correctly. Now, if you were to leave off some of those components, to forget some and give me just a plain burger, that would not have been meeting the criteria of your assignment. That would be like leaving stuff out of your complete assignment. So that's how we end up with like a C in art class. If you were to, like, you have an assignment to make a Zentangle drawing of your name, but say you just drew something else, I have no idea, something totally unrelated, but that is technically doing some artwork, you'd get a D in my class because you did something, but it was not the something that was asked of. So when we're learning stuff in art, it's important that we're practicing it. Just like if you were in math class and your teacher gave you an assignment to do a bunch of addition problems, and instead you drew a picture for her that's not completing the assignment, okay? So you get a little credit for having done some artwork, but it's important that we're able to demonstrate and learn the different things in art class that we're responsible for. If you do nothing, if you give me absolutely nothing, you don't complete any work, that's the only way that you fail my class. But I'm certain that you're all going to try very hard. So what does a B and an A look like? What's the difference? The difference is that effort that you put into your work, the participation points within class. That means that you're paying attention, you're answering questions, you're uploading your work, you're answering my questions about your work. Now that's how you get an A. An A is taking my order and adding something special. Remember, we're talking about your identity, right? So it's when I'm going to give you an assignment to do a landscape, and the landscape that you came up with came from your beautiful imagination and not just copying the example from me. You could copy my example and it could look lovely, and you'd get a B, but I want to see how you would do it, right? I want you to take it to the next level and give me A level by adding your own identity and your own thoughts and creative imaginative details. But if you just you can't come up with something and you copy my own ideas, that's fine. They're there for you to practice too. And then you can earn that A by participating in class and working really hard and attending all the lessons too. So I promise to work with you as fair as I can possibly be. So one of the ways that I want to help you get the best grade that you can get is by being very clear. So that's why I like to lay it out like a cheeseburger. So let's review all of the components for your cheeseburger order so that you can turn in your name assignment this week and start off the quarter with a perfect A. So here's my plain burger. I'm going to take my bun off because we have to add some toppings to this before we put the bun top back on. So I have my plain burger patty. Okay, my burger patty will always represent your nicest and neatest work. Okay, but now it's time to top off my patty here. I think the next thing I'm going to add to my cheeseburger is a tomato. All right, my tomato is going to represent the other work that was asked of me. Playing around and doing the sketch warm-up work in your sketchbook and completing your line assignment from the element of art packet. So that is the tomato on your burger assignment. All right, I love cheese. Let's add a piece of cheese here. Okay, cheese is going to represent something we should always do. Your art fills up your paper. I don't want to see your name written teeny tiny in the middle with teeny tiny little Zentangle patterns on it. Your name should fill your paper. Your artwork should fill your paper. That's always the case in art class. So the cheese represents your artwork, filling up your paper. Okay, next. Your name is written in bubble or outline letters. You have to create that space in your letters. Okay, that's something that we're practicing. That's an art skill that we learned about to practice. Let's have that. That'll be our lettuce. We need a little more lettuce than that. Okay, so your name written in bubble or outline letters is the lettuce on your burger. One last topping to go. That last one is you used at least 5 different Zentangle patterns to help fill in your artwork. And that one will be one of my favorite toppings, some bacon. All right, so let's put some bacon on our burger. And that's the full order. So we can put my bun back on top. So what do you do to get an A on this assignment? You're going to do your nicest, neatest work. You're going to have finished your sketches and your warm-up assignments. Your name and your artwork is going to fill up your paper. Your name is written in bubble or outlined letters, and you use at least 5 Zentangle patterns to fill in. So to get an A, maybe you used even more Zentangle patterns, right? Maybe every single one of them is completely different, so that's taking it to the next step. Or it's just positively participating in class. That's it. The last thing to do is just to utilize the code in the updates, and there's a video in the orientation week folder to walk you through how to upload your work in Artsonia. I am more than happy to assist you with that. If you're having a really hard time, you'll also be able to hand in your work when you swap out for your next material pickup through your classroom teacher. You can take a picture and just email it to me if you're really frustrated. Let's reach out if you're having a hard time with Artsonia, but I know there's friends within both of my 6 to 9 classes that have already done the Getting to Know You assignment to practice uploading with success. So I know it's possible, and I'm here to help make you successful. Thanks for joining me for the first week. I hope you work really hard and have fun. I hope your Zentangles are nice and relaxing for you. And check for messages at the beginning of next week to know the supplies that you should bring with you for week number 2.